children. One of the things that we often all agree on is efficiency in government, to turn the tone and the topic of the conversation a little bit in a different direction. Efficiency in government, nothing makes us more sad and disappointed than to see hard-paying tax dollars wasted by inefficiency. In my home state of Oklahoma, for every $1 million the government wastes, we have to have 96 Oklahomans work all year long to pay all of their taxes so that we can waste it. I've often highlighted wasteful measures in a series called Waste Watch, and we just released Waste Watch number 7, where we sadly highlight over $50 billion worth of waste in just one item, and a total of $70 billion worth of waste on a single topic. And that's something that we all care about and that we all want to pay with our taxes, and that's education. For years, Americans have been paying more and getting less from our educational system. Over the past decade, national high school student proficiency test scores in math have consistently met the minimum or were below. Reading scores for high school students over the past 20 years have been consistently substandard, with a continued downward trend. As test scores remain low, available funding for education is often wasted. The solution is not simply to spend more on education without correcting the habits where the waste can occur. We need to spend our dollars wisely by eliminating educational waste as well as many other forms of waste in government, and push those dollars where they actually count, to our teachers and to our classrooms. Additionally, we have to change the perception that more money spent always equals a better outcome. If that were the case, we would be the most efficient government on the planet. It is my hope to create the motivation to protect taxpayers and assist in educating America's children with the resources available. It is not enough to point out the problems. That's easy. Anyone can be a cynic and a critic. But we must work together to fix them so that we can make our nation stronger. Education is vital to our children and our future. What are some of these things that we're talking about? Well, how about this one? Researchers at the esteemed Harvard University spent $3 million to study if people were able to smell an unpleasant odor in their urine after eating asparagus, also known as asparagus pea, according to the research. The research was funded through a research grant from the National Institute of Health with your tax dollars. The NIH uses federal tax dollars to fund its research and received $30 billion in 2016. The NIH's mission statement is to, quote, enhance health, extend healthy lives, and reduce the burdens of illness and disability, end quote. And we would all agree with that. It's good to try to fix problems with disease, fight the common cold, cure cancer, cure Alzheimer, all of those things. However, the NIH has conducted life-saving research in the past and has begun to give broad authority in deciding how to spend the $30 billion, and now we see waste. The NIH funds research grants to universities, and much of the NIH's funding is well justified and leads to life-saving research. Funding a study that doesn't even explore the possible health benefits of eating asparagus, but only if there is an odor after eating it, does not fit into any mission of the NIH. And it's akin to the taxpayers' money being flushed down the toilet. This particular study was the result of a grant provided by the NIH to Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health. Its purpose was to discover whether people could smell an asparagus effect. Researchers at Harvard received more than $3 million in 2016 to survey 6,909 people of European American descent to find if these people's urine smelled funny after eating asparagus, and the results were published British Medical Journal. The results concluded that, quote, a large proportion of individuals of European American descent cannot smell any effect. 60% of the people surveyed 58% of men and 62% of women stated that they could not smell any urinary metabolites produced after asparagus consumption. However, Angus Chen, a reporter for the National Public Radio, stated that this report on this study, that 4,161 people were, quote, confused by even the question. You think? We didn't need to waste $3 million or have 260 Oklahomans work all year long to see if there was some effect in this madness. Mr. Speaker, do you want to waste $2 billion? Then give it to the Veterans Administration. In 2008, Congress passed the post-9/11 GI Bill, updating the GI Bill from 1944, creating new benefits for service members like myself, such as lengthening the expiration date following separation from the armed forces or retirement, and offering living expenses as well as tuition. Another change made the benefits paid directly to the school of choice for the veteran, and here's where it began to go awry. Initially, benefits from the GI Bill were paid directly to the service member for them to decide how and where to invest in their own education. Makes sense. They were responsible enough to defend our republic. They can probably handle the funds, as they had for decades before. This change now comes with a litany of problems. An audit conducted from 2013 to 14 by the Office of the Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs found that a 13% error rate in payments by the Veterans Benefit Administration to schools of choice for had occurred. To conduct this audit, the OIG looked into 650 payments for 225 students to 50 schools, and they found 128,000 in improper payments. And 8 students who withdrew from their classes still received $2,400 in stipends, and this money was never recovered for the taxpayer. Extrapolating these numbers to the full class of students, the Office of the Inspector General estimated that over 5 years, the Veterans Administration would process about $205 million in improper payments. And you see it continue to go on and waste $2.2 billion. We can do better. We must do better. We must do better by our veterans. We must do better so that we do not allow people's insatiable appetite for non-existent government funds to continue to be consumed. We are a nation that is $20 trillion in debt. How many of you, if you came and I asked you, hey, could I have $100? And you said, sure. And I said, okay, but great, it's going to cost you $105 because I'm going to charge you $5.